So my name is Nina Andersen, and I am here to talk about recapturing the social experience in the new world of television. So I'm talking instead of Miguel Silva. I work for Vimond, which we have a booth right down there. And I did my master thesis on social television. So I would like to talk to you a little bit today about what I developed when working with that on my master's. So the problem that I was working with is how we can make television social again. Because as you may have experienced, it's not as easy to talk about television now as it was earlier. Because people don't watch the same things at the same times anymore. So if you go to work and you saw a very good episode and you want to talk about it, chances are that most people haven't seen it yet, or they saw it earlier, or they're earlier in the same show, or they may be watching other shows than you are. So we've kind of lost that social aspect of TV that we used to have 10 and 20 years ago. And you can kind of recreate it a little bit using other social media, such as Twitter. If you use hashtags and you watch something live and you use the hashtag associated with that show, you can kind of get people's reactions while they're watching it. At the 2011 MTV Video Music Awards, after her performance, Beyoncé unbuttoned her blazer and showed her pregnant stomach for the first time, announcing to the world that she was pregnant. And the response was massive. In the blink of a single second, 8,868 tweets exploded into Twitter. A more recent example is when Leonardo DiCaprio finally won his first Oscar. In every minute, 440,000 tweets were congratulating him on finally winning. So you can see that people like reacting to what they're watching. They like being social around their reaction when they're watching TV. And a lot of people are actually returning to watching live TV just so that they can share this experience with other people, even if it's people they don't know. But it's too bad that people have to kind of adjust to this broadcasting schedule when we have all this technology making it possible to watch things streamed or on demand. So what I was trying to work on my master's, and what I'm so lucky that I can continue working on through my work at Vimond, is to try and find out how we can keep this social discussion around TV without forcing the viewers to bend their lives around a TV broadcasting schedule. So what I developed was a concept that created a social network around streamed content. So what I'm going to talk about today is to just present some of the concepts that I made, and to maybe talk a little bit about how this can be valuable both for the streaming web page that implements this and for the end users. So imagine that you have a streaming service with a conversation that never dies. The user doesn't have to follow the live schedule, and he doesn't miss out on the reaction of his peers who watched the show earlier. Each passing day brings a new layer of comments, reactions, and discussions, enriching the experience and keeping the content alive and interesting. So how do we do this? I'm now going to present some of the features that this system has. The core feature is time index comments. So as you know from Twitter, if you're not watching it live, then you will not get the tweet synchronized with what you're watching. Even if you start watching it 5 minutes later, it won't be relevant to what you're watching. But by time indexing these comments, you can replay the stream of reactions every time you watch it. So we made something called Vimond Connect that features an interface that resembles a chat window. So every time you watch the video, you get the comments at the same time as you watch the video. So that when you watch it, you might feel that other people are watching it at the same time as you are, even if they're not. They can have watched it hours earlier, days, or even months earlier. We also have the possibility to reply to comments. So this makes it possible to develop conversations around the content. So if I'm watching something and I'm reacting to it, and my friend is watching it later, she can reply to my comments, and I can keep living that experience even after. And for her, the experience will be something else, because she will see the content and get my comments and get a new dimension to what she's watching. Using notifications whenever you get replies makes it possible to also be reminded of experiences that you've had earlier. So what you can see here is like 2 replies to a comment, and then you can continue discussing this even after the video is over. We also use a lot of the features that we know from other social networking pages, such as profiles, following, and followers, making it possible to decide who you receive comments from. Maybe you want to see comments from just a small subset of your friends in some videos, and everybody you're following in other videos. And in other videos, maybe you want to see comments from people you don't know who provide some kind of additional information, such as facts or information about how the program was made, or just funny jokes. And we also use the concept of an activity stream, so that you can see everything your friends are commenting when you log on to the page. And this can make it easier to feel that you're part of a social community around the content. You can get inspiration for what you want to watch or what you want to talk about, and it makes the page feel a little bit more alive, because you know what's going on, you know what people are talking about, and you know what they're saying about it. We're also using a kind of reward system that you know from other social networks, where comments can be up or downvoted. And this can encourage people to write better comments to get more upvotes, and to maybe not spoil things to avoid downvotes. And this can maybe have an effect like on YouTube videos, that you can have channels of people who specialize in providing certain types of information or comments and thrive from getting a lot of followers. The application should also integrate with existing social networks. So by, for instance, posting a comment to Facebook whenever you write it, you can post information about your activities to a broader network of friends, even if they're not a part of the social application on the streaming web page. And doing this makes it possible to be more precise when you're commenting. You're saying exactly what scene you are talking about without limiting the reach of who can see your comments. And for users who are not part of the application but are receiving this kind of information in their stream, this might also draw them into the streaming web page, because they might be curious. If I post a comment from Facebook where I say, "Oh my God, I never thought this would happen," then I might want to go and check out what they were talking about. It's also possible to tag and mention people in this system. So the tagging is a way of saying what to kind of make certain phrases searchable. And the annotations is a way of recommending content. So it's an easier way of recommending specific scenes. And the people who are mentioned in the comment can get notifications so that they can know what they should see. And we also have analytics included in this, and I will talk more about that in the next section. So what value does this provide? I will talk about two main areas where this can be very valuable to use. And one of them is as a crowdsourced annotation project. So it can be interesting for the implementing web page. And the other area is how this can be very useful for the end users. So a crowdsourced annotation project means that we are utilizing this big group of people and their comments to annotate the content and making it more searchable and giving us information about how people are reacting to what they are watching. So this provides more information about what engages the audience. And how can we use this? This is an example of something that I implemented for my master's. So this is a list of the most popular assets, the most commented assets. And then we have a graph here showing which part of the asset has the most comments. So this can be used to say something about what people are watching, and we can filter this on different parameters. For instance, you can exchange people for your friends or people in certain age groups, and talking about in different periods. So you can see what people have talked about in the last 24 hours, what people have talked about the last week, or even the last year. So it gives a lot of information about the activities of people on the page. And this can, for instance, be used for advertisements. Knowing which part of the video engages the audience the most can give you information about where you should put in advertisements. And it also gives you information about what kind of reactions people have to the content. If a lot of people are commenting about the clothes in a video, then maybe you want to put in advertisements about those clothes. And this can also be used for promoting content on the streaming web page, because knowing what people are saying about different parts of the video can give you the phrases to use when you promote it. You know which videos engages people the most and how they are reacting to it. So you can use this as a basis for creating carousels and for drawing videos into the light. And making compilations or playlists based on videos with similar characteristics and similar reactions. End users can also use this as a good way of catching up with the content. If they arrive on the streaming web page, seeing what people have talked about the most since the last time they were on the page, they can use this to catch up on shows that their friends are watching. And if they're in a rush, they can just prioritize the most commented parts, as these may be more interesting. If you can imagine that this, for instance, is a humor show, a live sketch show or something, you can maybe the highs here are the most funny sketches. So you can choose to only click on them and just see the parts that people are talking about the most. So it can be a very good way of catching up and staying active in a social community around television. It also provides information about how people are reacting to the content. What is funny, what is provoking, how are people talking about this? And this can also be interesting when for streaming web pages that produces their own videos, because if you think something is funny and you don't get that many ha-has and lulz, then maybe it's not as funny as you thought. And if you think something is dramatic or provoking and it doesn't drive that much attention, then you can adjust this when you keep creating your own content. We also have the possibility of analyzing the sentiments of the comments so that you can automatically see how people are reacting to this. And this also makes it easier to categorize and sort the content. By searching for combinations of hashtags, you can distinguish the parts of the content that you are looking to find. For instance, if you have the combination of lol and funny and haha with awkward, you may be able to find awkward comedies such as The Office or Curb Your Enthusiasm. But you can also use it to find more specific content if you're looking for that for specific occasions. Like if you search for the Halloween hashtag, you may be able to find Halloween specials or TV shows. You can also use tags for identifying which part of the content is trending on a web page. So in this example, you can see this cloud of tags where the biggest words are the most used. And this can develop every day to show what people are talking about. And it can also be filtered on time periods and groups to identify what is going on at any given time. So for the end users, this is interesting because they get a social network around the content. You can, when you go into the page, you can see what people are talking about and get the feeling that something is happening instead of just choosing something for yourself. So imagine that you're part of a group of friends who are watching football together, but this day you can't join. So your friends are still gathering or chatting about this, but you can't follow the conversation because sometimes they're talking about a goal that happens and other times they're talking about other things, and it kind of spoils the game for you, so you can't follow the conversation. But using this system, if you mute it and you start watching it some hours later, you can replay this conversation when you are watching it. And then you don't miss out on anything, any of the conversation around it. So this is an example of how our player looks like, with the comments replayed as a chat window. And you can also click on the comment to navigate in the video. And the comment has information about when it was written relative to the video and when it was written calendar-wise. So this makes it possible to see which of your friends share your favorite, and makes it possible to discuss this with your friends at your own leisure instead of having to follow a broadcasting schedule. And this enriches the content because for each passing day, new people will comment it. So if you watch it when it's new and then you rewatch it months or years later, a lot will have happened in the video. And choosing and re-choosing who you receive comments from will also give a new aspect to the video, so it can stay live longer. And through the living time of the video, it can change because someone might introduce a new perspective, a new analysis, or a new way of seeing it. And this can spark other comments, so it can grow dynamically with time, always adding new information about it. And we have a prototype for this, so if anybody is interested in getting more information or maybe seeing a demo, you can come and talk to me afterwards or visit us at our booth. Thank you. Sorry? Do any of you have any questions now? Yes? Oh. I can tell you.
Do you do any analysis of the conversations in terms of natural language processing or something?
Can you turn it up a little bit? Can you try and speak up?
Do you do any analysis of the conversations to try and stitch together asynchronous comments? Because I mean, to scale up these discussions, if you have a lot of people commenting, if you could filter based on what people are saying, if you understand what they're saying, you can join together conversations. But to do that asynchronously, you have to understand what they're saying, right?
Yeah. We don't have anything for that yet, but at least a good thing I think is that when we time index the comments, we can always know at least what scene it's referencing. So if you're interested in a topic, you can just stay around that time and see everything people are talking about around that time. But of course, if you filter out, if you only receive comments from your friends, you will only see what they are saying. But yeah, it could be interesting to kind of analyze different directions of the conversations and put it together. Yeah. Any other questions? I think she had a question.
I just want to know, do you guys apply, can you guys apply the sentiment analysis and just general comment data to other languages? Let's say the comments are in Arabic or in just another language. Do you guys have the capability to get the sentiment out of those? Or
I don't know the details about the analysis yet, but we have one guy working at our company who made a Twitter account where he analyzed the sentiments of a lot of tweets, and then he published this kind of statistics about how this was developing or about tweets. But I'm not sure how much he considered languages.
Okay.
But it should be possible. I guess haha is kind of international.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. But yeah, you're welcome to come and talk to me afterwards if you don't want to ask in front of everybody. Thank you for listening.